Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views.
And here are today's headlines.
The Office of the Vice President said it spent 20.68 million pesos on Vice President Sara Duterte's local and foreign trips as of July 31, 2025.
A News 5 source reveals that two former Supreme Court justices are part of the independent body that will probe flood control anomalies.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte is reportedly experiencing cognitive deficiencies ahead of trial at the International Criminal Court.
The 2025 FIVB Volleyball Men's World Championship kicks off today, September 12, with the opening match between the host country, Philippines, and Tunisia.
A potential conflict of interest surfaced during the Commission on Audit's budget hearing after it was revealed that COA Commissioner Mario Lipana's wife is a government contractor. Here's the report.
During the Commission on Audit's budget deliberation in the House of Representatives, a potential conflict of interest came to light. It was revealed that COA Commissioner Mario Lipana's wife, Marilu Lipana, is a government contractor. She serves as president and general manager of Olympus Mining and Builders Group Philippines Corporation. Reports show that payments to her company have reached 326.6 million pesos, mostly for flood control projects. Lipana is currently on medical leave in Singapore until the end of September, prompting COA Chair Gamaliel Cordoba to be questioned about the matter during the budget hearing.
Para po sa akin, personally, there's a potential conflict of interest.
Bakit po potential conflict of interest?
Pagka po siya ay nakailam dun sa mga auditor sa baba na gumagawa ng kanilang trabaho din, that's a potential conflict.
ACT Teachers Party List Representative Antonio Tino cited the 1987 Constitution, which prohibits members of constitutional commissions from holding financial interests directly or indirectly in any government contract or franchise.
Obviously, constitutional commissioner si
Yes.
Mr. Lipana.
Bilang pong kanyang asawa, then meron po siyang financial interest.
Meron po.
Tino suggested that Lipana should resign to uphold the COA's credibility.
So mukhang may problema ang COA. Dapat mag-resign na ang commissioner na ito.
However, Mamamayang Liberal Party List Representative Leila de Lima said the commissioner cannot be forced to resign, but she warned that failure to address the matter could lead to impeachment proceedings for betrayal of public trust.
Please talk to him once he reports back to office. Otherwise, one of us or some of us may initiate impeachment proceedings against him because it clearly falls under one of the grounds, betrayal of public trust.
For News 5, I'm Marian Enriquez. We are One News.
Oh, lumabas yan, lumitaw yesterday dun sa kanilang hearing kasi nga, yung wife, one of the top contractors, sa may Bulacan din siya eh.
Pero di ka pa nakita kung ano yung mga projects na nahawakan niya eh.
Farm to market, okay.
Meron ba siyang flood control?
Yeah, so Lipana's wife received, yung company, received 9 government contracts for flood control projects and farm-to-market roads in Bulacan, totaling 326.6 million this year.
Wala naman flood control.
Kasama, ayun
Meron,
government contracts for flood control projects.
Akala ko farm-to-market sabi mo.
And farm-to-market roads,
yan ang ultimate,
dalawa.
Yan ang okay, yun naman. Pero yan ang ultimate, yan ang ultimate, what do you say, conflict of interest? Kasi nasa COA ka. Ang COA, ang trabaho kasi nila, for those watching, post-audit. In other words, after the project is done, titignan mo paano ginastos at kung ang pinaggastusan nyo ay gumagana. In other words, is useful or evident. As described sa specification. Kung asawa mo contractor, tapos COA commissioner ka.
Hindi daw nag-declare dapat kasama yun sa SALN, etc.
Dapat hindi nga.
Hindi pero sinasabi nga ng yung COA na ini-interview niya, Congressman Tino, although wala daw silang authority to reprimand yung COA commissioner nila, this position is impeachable.
Oo.
So, kung hindi siya makauwi dito, etc., dahil sabi daw, nagpapagamot siya, ay pwede siyang ma-impeach kung hindi siya makipag-usap, no? Dahil there are a lot of evidence,
So, hindi siya
documents
pwedeng-
that are presenting ng conflict of
Hindi siya pwede
interest.
tanggalin ng presidente?
That is betrayal of public trust.
Hindi siya pwede tanggalin outright?
Ang alam ko dito is impeachable offense siya.
Kasi ang president can remove members of the cabinet outright. So this one ba is like
Ang alam ko lang is impeachable offense siya.
we have to look into that. Oo.
Yeah, oo. So, yun ang sinasabi ni Congressman.
Parang
sa
si
kanya.
parang yung COMELEC chairman, yung mga Supreme Court justice kasi it's an independent constitutional body ba?
Yeah,
COA.
so kasama yan
Professional
sa
audit.
sa SALN,
Ah.
yung pag-declare ng not just your statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth, but also your spouses. So, your spouse lang pala.
Pero
Isa lang.
Pero bawal yan kasi COA ka eh.
Yes, and of course, di ba, yearly or ever since naman pinag-uusapan pag COA, sila yung alam mong independent body that will really, di ba, audit yung pinagkakagastusan ng
post-audit.
ng mga kada department. And yet, during one of the speeches of Senator Ping Lacson, may nakita tayo doon sa mga corruption scheme na nilahad niya doon na may mga kasamang COA din. So, dapat
Actually-
pag-imbestigahan.
Actually, if you remember, yung nagsisimula pa lang mag-break itong mga, kakasimula pa lang ng hearings o wala pang hearing, pinag-uusapan na nila ng mga lawmakers yung involvement ng COA because at that time wala pang evidence, may lapses daw ang COA. 'Di ba? Ngayon, we're seeing a new development na yung isang COA commissioner pala, asawa mo contractor. So, were these deliberate lapses as part of the scheme or error lang talaga? We have to look into that deeper.
Oo, kasi nga yung asawa niya, yung isa sa mga anomalous sa flood control projects sa
Ayun,
Bulacan.
ayun na nga
So
po.
walang transparency, mandate 'yan 'di ba? Kung
Mandate.
government employee ka, kasama 'yan, mag-declare ka ng SALN mo, tapos 'yan yung transparency, pero hindi 'yun nangyari dito.
Correct.
So, we will see what will happen kasi nga nasa ibang bansa siya at nagpapagamot daw. Dapat kausapin din ngayon kung nandito yung asawa niya.
Uso ata yung
wife. Kasi contractor din yun eh. 'Di ba? Pwede siyang ma-scrutinize din
Uso
sa...
ata yung pagpapagamot abroad
Oo nga. Alright. Meanwhile, the Office of the Vice President says it spent over 2 million pesos on VP Sara Duterte's local and foreign trips as of July this year. Here's a report.
As 2025 began, Vice President Sara Duterte embarked on a series of trips abroad. In February, the Vice President, along with her sister Kitty Duterte, visited Japan for a private trip. The following month, she also went to Hong Kong. She eventually flew to the Netherlands to visit her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, who is currently detained at the ICC facility. The Vice President has since returned to the Netherlands multiple times. She has also traveled to Qatar, Malaysia, Australia, South Korea, and more recently to Kuwait and France in August. According to the Office of the Vice President, as of July 31, the office has spent 20.68 million pesos on her travels within the Philippines and overseas. Of this amount, 7.47 million went to international trips, while 13.2 million was for local travel. From the 62.5 million allocated budget for 2025 travel, around 42 million remains. The OVP clarified, however, that the Vice President shoulders her own personal expenses. The government funds are used only for the mandatory security and civilian staff accompanying her.
We'd like to emphasize that all the travel overseas of the Vice President is covered by a travel authority and did not include any public funds.
For next year, the proposed travel allocation for the OVP has been reduced to 20 million pesos. As of now, Vice President Sara Duterte has a scheduled trip to Japan this month, though this has yet to be confirmed. What is certain is her visit to Naga City this September to join the Peña Francia Festival, where she has also expressed openness to meet with Naga Mayor Leni Robredo. The OVP outlined these travel expenses as part of its preparations for the upcoming House budget hearing, where it will defend its proposed 903 million peso proposed budget for 2026. One of the OVP's flagship programs, the Pagpabago campaign, will continue distributing school bags, supplies, and hygiene kits. However, it will no longer include the Vice President's controversial children's book, Ang Kaibigan, which last year had a 10 million budget request.
We took note of the comments and recommendations of the Congress during the budget deliberation of the OVP last year. So we took note of that. And again, for this year and the years moving forward, the pagbabago bag will include the bag itself, and it will contain school supplies and the dental kits.
It is still unclear whether Vice President Sara Duterte will personally attend today's budget hearing. For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
O, ayan ha. So, kinaklarify nila na sinasagot naman daw niya yung own travel expenses niya. But we have to take note na may ginagastos pa rin yung opisina niya. Yung opisina niya na budget allocated sa kanya, yung pera ng gobyerno, ay ginagastosan yung mga staff niya, no, for the travel expenses.
And then we all know also that you have to remember, before we move on to the next, we have to remember that sinesweldohan siya monthly. So just like in any corporation, to check down nila kung nag-file ba siya ng proper leaves. Because if you went out and you received your salary, tapos absent ka sa trabaho mo dito, then that's already a form of stealing money already.
I remember during one of the press conference ni Yusek Claire Castro, sinasabi niya na they were able to give naman daw regularly pag humihingi yung opisina ni Vice President Sara Duterte ng Travel Authority. Nabibigyan naman siya.
Pero
so sabi niya ganun kasi pag di mo naman binigyan, di ba magkakaisyo. So bigyan mo na lang
ang
din.
sinabi ni, I heard that, pero ang sinabi ni Yusek Claire is she doesn't know if it qualified her for taking the leave of absence. Because karamihan daw ng notice na binibigay ni VP Sara, karamihan daw na nakita nila was a day before her travel. Who are they naman to say no? Pero hindi daw niya alam kung pasok ito sa leaves. Kasi you're being paid Oo.
Pero ang ginagawa na lang nila to make it official, because we all know naman, na kaya siya umaalis kasi binibisita niya yung tatay niya sa Netherlands.
And on the way to
on the way to Netherlands, she goes to different countries, tapos binibisita na lang yung mga OFWs doon, yung mga Filipino community, to make it official. Diba? So, kaya medyo tinitignan pa rin yung paggastos ng kanyang opisina dito sa travel, dito sa kanyang pag-travel. And ano ba yung mga ginagawa niya para sa kanyang posisyon. We all know naman, spare tire, ang tawag, di ba, sa Vice President dito sa atin. Pero bilang isang Vice President, ano yung mga ginagawa mo while you are outside of the country? Pero yun naman din sinasabi ng kampo niya na kahit siya ay lumalabas ng ibang bansa, ay she makes sure na lahat ng mandato daw ng VP, ng opisina ng VP dito sa atin, ay nagagawa naman. Yun ang sinasabi niya. Okay?
Well said, Mr. Chairman. And now let's get the latest over at the House of Representatives. We have with us mobile journalist Arles de los Santos. Arles, what's the update ngayon sa House?
Magandang umaga, Angela at Jego. Nagpapatuloy nga ang House Committee on Appropriations sa deliberasyon nito para sa budget ng Department of Migrant Workers para sa taong 2026. Sa ating pakikinig dito at ating pananaliksik ay para sa taong 2026 ay meron nga itong 10.2 billion na budget para sa susunod na taon. Pero sila ay nananawagan ng 2 billion pesos na increase para nga raw mas mapabuti pa ang ilan sa kanilang mga programa. Kasama na nga dyan ang pagbibigay ng alaga sa mga seafarer, pagsunod na rin sa batas. At syempre ay yung kanilang panawagan dito sa Kamara na expansion ng alagang OWA program sa NAIA Terminals 1 and 2 na sabi nila ay kauna-unahang overseas worker na parang lounge para sa ating mga manggagawa. Bukod pa dyan, ay yung pag-adapt nga ng whole of nation approach sa pakikipagtulungan sa PhilHealth, Pag-ibig at iba pang mga ahensya ng gobyerno para mabigyan ng insurance itong mga kababayan natin na tinatawag nga na bagong bayani. Bukod dyan ay syempre mayroon din silang mga panawagan dahil sa 2 bilyong piso na kanilang budget increase request ay daw ay para rin nga mas madagdagan pa ang kanilang pagtugon sa mga emergency repatriation, lalo pa at patuloy nga ang pag-init ng tensyon sa iba't ibang mga lugar o iba pang mga bansa sa mundo, kagaya na lamang sa Israel at kamakailan lamang sa Qatar. Kaya naman mas gusto daw nila na mas mapabilis ang kanilang pagtugon dito at nang sa gayon ay masiguro ang kaligtasan ng ating mga kababayan. Samantala, kasama sa proposed budget ng DMW para sa 2026 ay na-retain naman dito ang 1.2 billion na alokasyon para sa programa ng ahensya na Agarang Kalinga sa mga OFW o aksyon na ginagamit para magbigay ng legal, medical, financial at iba pang mahalaga na serbisyo para sa kanilang mga kliyente na yun nga ang tinatawag nating mga OFW. Sa ngayon ay nagpapatuloy dito ang deliberasyon pa rin ng Kamara at inaasahan natin na magtagal ito ng ilang oras, no, dahil nga masusi din na tinitignan ngayon ang kapakanan ng ating mga kababayan na nasa ibang mga bansa dahil na rin sa hindi inaasahan na pagsulpot ng ilang mga sigalot lalo na sa mga bansa sa Middle East. Balik sa inyo.
So Arles, mukhang ang mood dyan ngayon based sa report mo is work as usual. Pero of course, the question of the day, and it's a Friday today, end of the week, no? Ang tanong dyan is, wala ka bang nasasagap dyan na balita or information about yung umuugong na balita about speakership?
Change of leadership.
Actually, Diego, ilang araw na natin naririnig yan dito, no? Actually, nung magkaroon nga ng pagpapalit ng liderato sa Senado, ay inasahan natin na susunod ang House of Representatives, no, na magkaroon na rin ng bagong speaker. Pero kinumpirma ng ilang mga kasama ng mayorya at even ng ilang minority, no, na nananatili ang bilang ng mga boto at suporta ng mga mambabatas para kay House Speaker Martin Romualdez. May mga umuugong na sina Representative Al Benitez ang papalit, pero hindi pa raw ata nakukuha yung numero para rito. Pero patuloy natin na tututukan yan sa mga paparating pang-araw. Pero ngayon, Friday, work as usual sila rito.
Binanggit mo si Congressman Benitez. Also, ang isang pangalan na lumalabas, si presidential son, Congressman Marcos.
Actually, Diego, isa siya sa mga pinaka-iniisip nila, no, na kung aalis man daw si House Speaker Martin Romualdez sa posisyon nito, ayun nga, si Deputy Majority Leader Sandro Marcos ang papalit. Siguro mas nauunawaan daw kasi nito ang pagkaangkla nga ng bagong Pilipinas agenda ng administrasyon ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. At syempre, ayan ay patuloy na gumugulong at bulong-bulungan dito. Pero matatandaan natin na si kasama sa mga majority speaker dito nga si Representative Paulo Ortega ng La Union ay kinumpirma na so far walang pagbabago ng liderato dito sa Kamara.
Kailan ba ulit yung Infracom hearing?
Sa ngayon ay inaasahan natin na kung hindi sa susunod na linggo, Angela, ay sa next week pa, no? Dahil nga ayan ay parang sinisili pa nila mismo kung ano pa nga ang kanilang magiging development at yung iba pang mga resource persons na kanilang ipapatawag dito. Natanong natin, no, matagal nang hinihintay ng bayan kung kailan nga ba darating dito sa Kamara si Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong, pero ayon kay Representative Ridon ay parang medyo nakafocus pa, no, yung investigasyon ng Infracom sa mga proyekto ng Bulacan at mga contractor nito, pati mga engineer. Sa ngayon daw ay yung pag-divulge ng mga pangalan ay medyo nasa malawak na scope pa. Sa ngayon ay medyo mas specific pa kasi yung pagbusisi nila dito sa mga maanumalyang flood control projects.
Alright, maraming salamat. That was our mobile journalist Arles de los Santos reporting live from the House of Representatives.
Alright, and Navotas Representative Toby Tiangco is pushing for a total overhaul of the lower chamber's leadership. This comes after several lawmakers, including Speaker Martin Romualdez, were implicated in the flood control controversy. Tiangco also admitted that there are ongoing talks about a possible change in House leadership. However, House Chief Communications Officer Ace Barbers told Storycon that talks of a leadership change are merely noise. Barbers also urged the public to refrain from judging lawmakers linked to the issue based on hearsay or unverified testimony.
Kung meron mang mga kongresista na guilty at merong senador na guilty, ilalabas po siguro yan sa investigasyon. Hintayin natin at doon natin sila batikusin. Doon natin sila husgahan dahil tayo ay meron ng ebidensya.
Alright, so I was able to talk to him yesterday through Balita Pilipinas.
Yeah.
At yun nga, among other things, yung mga napag-usapan namin, kasama yan yung change of leadership. Pero he reiterated nga na malakas pa rin ang suporta, may numero, itong si House Speaker Martin Romualdez dyan. In fact, may pinakita sila nilabas na photo of the members of the House of Representatives clarifying na they stand beside the
I
House
heard this
Speaker.
interview, parang ang sinasabi niya is yung ingay na naririnig ngayon that clamoring for the change in the House leadership is from the initial number pa rin that didn't vote for him.
Yeah.
So in other words, it's nothing new, walang dumagdag lang sa naayaw sa kanya umalis.
Merong may gusto pero hindi magagawa, hindi ma-execute kasi mataas pa rin yung numbers.
Hindi. In other words, yung may gusto, yung nagka-clamor for it, is still the same people who didn't vote for him. It's no new numbers. Kumbaga, di ba, you need swing You need swing votes from the other side. Wala. It's still intact. So, we don't see a leadership change, at least sa lower house for the moment. Pero sa Senado kasi is more volatile
Pero 'di ba, on hindsight, they need to kumbaga double up yung kanilang mga ginagawa diyan sa House of Representatives aside from being transparent doon sa kanilang budget deliberation, but yung sa Infracom hearing as well, and yung issue ng budget last year, because yan talaga yung pinakapupukol na issue sa kanila. 'Di ba, yung mga insertions, yesterday nga lang sinabi ni Senator Lacson na there are 300 plus million na budget insertions from last year. So, and we have yet to see, 'di ba, yung pag-attend nga ni Congressman Zaldico, which is sinasabi nga he's in medical leave, yun, dapat talaga pagtuunan ng pansin para makakuha tayo ng sagot. Otherwise, puro lang tayo na, 'di ba, kung anong ginagawa lang nila diyan, wala tayong nakakitang solusyon. Alright, we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News.
Selyado na ang partnership sa pagitan ng Ayala Foundation at MVP Sports Foundation.
Pirmado na ni MVP Sports Foundation Chairman Manny V. Pangilinan at Ayala Corporation Chairman Jaime Agosto Zubeldi Ayala ang partnership na sisentro sa pagpapaigting ng suporta para sa mga manlalarong Pinoy.
A partnership rooted in our shared mission of developing future Filipino sports leaders that excel on the world stage. We are committed to nurturing young leaders in their chosen fields.
Let us all dream big and let us work together to build more opportunities for Philippine sports and for the next generation of athletes.
Patuwang din dito ang government sector.
This is really the program of the President Marcos. He said we'll go strong, we'll do grassroots, we'll go all out.
Buhay naman nung masusuportahan si EJ Obuena na ipinasilip na ang kanyang magiging World Pole Vault Challenge. Abangan niyan sa September 21, 2025.
This is a great pleasure for us at the Ayala Foundation to be joining in this initiative. So we're delighted, Manny, and look forward to building on this great initiative. Thank you for the opportunity as well to you.
This is a sports-minded country. So it is a worthwhile endeavor. It's good to have as many legs supporting the sport. And I think part of it is our desire in our program to talk to other businesses to join us here in this effort.
Journal Francis Rivera po, hatid ang mukha ng balita.
Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. President Bongbong Marcos has signed Executive Order number 94 establishing the Independent Commission for Infrastructure. The body will investigate alleged corruption and irregularities in flood control and other infrastructure projects nationwide. Meanwhile, Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong confirmed he was invited to serve as an advisor. He clarified, however, that he cannot formally join the body as a member since he is an elected official. Magalong assured that the members of the commission are credible and capable of handling the investigation independently.
I won't be a member of the commission. I'm not that allowed being an elected official. But I was asked to help in the aspect of investigation.
In what capacity? Advising lang?
Yes, as an advisor.
Yan. So, advisor si Mayor.
Yes. Kasi nga, government official siya. But over the last 2 days, diba, we have heard several names popped up dito nga sa binubuong independent commission.
One of which is Secretary Babe Singson, another one is his...
Pero wala pa talagang formal
we're just saying
official.
pop-up lang.
Yeah. Oo. Tapos meron si Justice Carpio, rather. Nakalimutan ko.
In the evidence, kasi ang problema dito, yun ang mga napupusuan ng Pangulo, it's just that hindi pa formally daw tinanggap ng mga tao. So that's why a lot of these names are floating around which are confusing the public. So siguro...
We'll see. Kasi ang sinabi ng Office of the President...
Tatlo, di ba?
2 or 3 days ago, they'll announce the member.
Yeah.
Pero yesterday, it was just an executive order yung na-announce
Yes.
nila. Wala pa talaga
So,
yung formal announcement ng members.
One chairperson and 2 committee members supposedly. Then you have a string of advisor. You have si Mayor Magalong. Then you'll have a forensic accountant also to
Oo,
look
yun
at it.
ang sabi.
And then you'll have 1 investigator. So siguro these are
Basta if there's one thing na sigurado tayo, walang magiging government official sa loob ng commission na yun. Because
dapat.
yun ang sinabi ni Pangulong Bongbong
I agree
Marcos,
with that.
diba?
Dapat.
Okay.
All right, in other news, former President Rodrigo Duterte is reportedly experiencing cognitive deficiencies, according to lawyer Nicholas Kaufman. This prompted Kaufman to request an indefinite adjournment of all legal proceedings before the ICC. Medical assessments cited in the submission highlight impairments in memory, daily functioning, orientation, and reasoning with little expectation of improvement. These limitations are said to hinder Duterte's capacity to understand the proceedings or make informed decisions.
Senator Robin Padilla clarifies that he did not make an offensive gesture while singing the national anthem during Monday's Senate session. He explained that it was his index finger that was extended, a gesture that is sacred in Islam. To support his clarification, Padilla shared photos of the incident from another angle on Facebook. He added that he would leave the matter to Allah rather than take legal action.
The Unified 911 Emergency Hotline has been formally launched as the country's single number for all emergency response. Mobile Journal JF Rivera has the details.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, in partnership with PLDT, officially launched the nationwide emergency hotline Unified 911 system at PLDT Sampaloc, Manila on September 11, 2025. In his opening remarks, PLDT Chairman Manny V. Pangilinan committed the company's support for this initiative to ensure the safety of Filipinos.
Partnership with government and NGA 911, we're laying down the foundation for a safer and resilient Philippines. We pledge to you the support of the group, particularly of PLDT and SMART, in providing the relevant connectivity that you need to make this system operate for the sake of our people.
The Bureau of Fire Protection Chief Director Jesus Fernandez stated that the agency will always be prepared to respond to the needs of the Filipino people.
Let this be our solemn pledge that no Filipino will ever stand alone in the face of danger. The BFP, together with our partners, will always be there, undoubted, unyielding, and united.
Don Ferguson, CEO and co-founder of NGA 911, assured that this is just the beginning as they plan to build more command centers across the country.
This is our start. We have many more centers to deploy, and we have much more deeper technology to apply. And at the end of this, it is to serve the citizens of the Philippines with great pleasure and delight.
On its first day of operation, the Unified 911 system received approximately 60,000 calls nationwide, most of which involve vehicular accidents. In collaboration with the Philippine National Police, Bureau of Fire Protection, Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, and local government units, the Unified 911 system aims to provide a 24/7 free-of-charge emergency response service. The system is also designed to handle calls in various Philippine languages with a target response time of just 5 minutes.
Kung may emergency sa sunog, sa health, sa suspicious activity, flooding, lahat yan, isang number na lang tatawagan. At kung nasaan kayo, pagdating pag full blast na siya, kung ano ang lingwahe nyo sa lugar nyo, ayun rin ang sagot sa inyo. So it's a very Filipino-friendly system na unified na maaasahan ng mga Pilipinas.
Mobile journalist Francis Rivera, we are One News.
All right, it is now the Department of Migrant Workers' turn to be questioned by the House Appropriations Committee for a detailed examination of their 2026 budget. Now let's listen in.
Circulated through Telegram. Ano po ang plano gawin ng DMW para maiwasan at maprotektahan ang ating mga OFWs sa mga ganitong klaseng insidente? I know there are existing mechanisms to curb these activities on Facebook and Viber, but is there a similar system in place for Telegram or rapidly evolving messaging platforms that pose risks to our workers abroad?
Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair. Natutumbok niyo po yung mahalaga naming pangangailangan. Dito sa anti-illegal recruitment, as also pointed out by the good Congresswoman, ay kailangan po natin ng mga operatiba. Crucial yung operatiba kasi they're the ones who do the covert operations in terms of yung surveillance sa mga illegal recruiters. So they pose as applicants. They monitor offices and such who pose as recruiters but are not really licensed recruiters. So ito po ang kailangan natin, yung inspectors, kailangan din po natin doon naman sa mga licensed recruitment agencies. Halimbawa ho, nung ako'y mismong sumama sa isang inspection team natin, na-discover na may mga 1 o 2 personalidad doon sa recruitment agency na pinuntahan namin sa Ermita na hindi pala kasali sa listahan ng dapat mag-recruit within the agency. So illegal recruitment din po yun. So we need more people on the ground. Kung sa military yan, we need more boots on the ground. So to speak, kasi ho, law enforcement, meron din kaming, should I say, law enforcement role. Of course, having said that, we partner with PNP, NBI, and the other law enforcement agencies. Mr. Chair, I hope you don't mind if we could have Yusek Bernard also add to what I said.
Yes. Madam Chair, with the permission of our Secretary, noong 2024 po, Madam Chair, ang budget po ng Migrant Workers Protection Bureau, ito po yung pinaka-focal office po ng DMW na lumalaban po sa mga IR at TIP natin, ay 17 million lamang po. This year, ang budget po namin ay 20 million pesos lamang po. So with this limited budget, let me share to you the accomplishments of our office. 217 po yung binabanggit na surveillance operations ni Secretary kanina. Yun po yung nakandak namin. Pero kung madadagdagan ang aming budget at makakapag-hire kami ng additional surveillance staff, mas malaki po yung maitutulong nito. 29 establishments po ang pinasara namin. Ibig pong sabihin nito, as a result of our active surveillances, nagkaroon po kami ng 25 positive findings na itong mga entities na ito ay gumagawa ng mga illegal activities, kaya po namin pinasara. Nandyan po yung nagpasara kami ng mga training centers. Bagamat sila ay accredited ng TESDA at recognized ng LGU, kung sila ay lumalabag sa DMW rules and processes, sarado po ang kanilang ahensya. Pati po chapel, opo, meron pong missionary style po yan. Ide-deploy nila as missionaries, pero ang katotohanan nun, magtatrabaho sa abroad. Kaya po yung isang chapel dyan sa Rizal, as a result of our active surveillance, pinasarap po din ni Secretary yun. Meron din po kami mga language training centers, visa, entities, tapos yung mga tinatawag po namin na nagpapanggap na mga licensed recruitment agencies na may tie-up sa ibang mga agencies, pinaspasara din po natin yan. 17 illegal recruiters po ang na-entrap namin as a result of these operations. At may isa po kami rin na na-entrap doon mismo sa aming DMW office na kung saan nagpapanggap din na siya ay lehitimong empleyado ng isang recruitment agency. So, sa madalit salita po, marami po kaming ginawa. Kasama na po yung collaboration namin with SEC, sa AMLAC, na napaka-importante. Kami po ay nag-capacity building na i-appoint po namin na deputized AMLAC personnel, financial investigators po, yung mismong DMW, nang sa ganon, hindi lamang natin maipakulong yung mga nagkasala, kundi makuha natin at yung proceeds nila, matrace natin kung saan itideposito yung mga illegal fees na kanilang kinolekta, at nang sa ganon, ma-forfeit natin in favor of our private offended parties po.
Thank you, Yusef. My next question is, alam ko po, nagre-request po kayo ng restoration po ng action fund natin na 2.4 billion and the establishment of OFW help desk sa 82 provinces. How will this be implemented, and how will we ensure the help reaches the most remote and vulnerable OFWs and their families?
Yes po, ito pong maraming salamat po, Chair. Tama po kayo, we're requesting na ma-restore to, kasi yung 2.2 billion po kasi for 2025, umabot po ng ganon kasi may continuing pa kami. I have to admit, nung infant stages ng department, ay talagang we were still adjusting as to utilization. But we're hitting our stride, 4 years old, so toddler na po kami ngayon. At we're hitting our stride in terms of utilization. So for instance, we're hitting 70% sa Action Fund at this stage. So kumbaga parang hindi kami natugunan nun because of low utilization, but now that we're hitting our stride ay bigla namang kaming natamaan ng mababang budget. So we're seeking for more funding, again legal, medical at financial humanitarian assistance ang Action Fund. We do not hesitate to help anyone on the ground, whether it's here or abroad. Yung pong 82, yung OFW help desks in 82 province will go a long way kasi mahalaga kay Presidente yung may natatakbuhan yung mga pamilya. Napakahalaga po kay Pangulo. Parati niya akong tinatanong tungkol sa natutugunan ba natin yung pangangailangan ng pamilya ng OFW. At ang gusto po niya mangyari ay frontline, grassroots, ang tulong sa mga OFWs. We want to be as first responders at the grassroots level. Yan po ang goal namin. Kaya may 82 provinces, panimula lang po yan kasi gusto talaga namin every city and municipality. Sa totoo lang, every barangay, pero mataas po ang pangarap yon. Sa ngayon, 82 provinces muna ang hinihiling namin and to cover yung Action Fund. Ang isang example po dito sa Action Fund, galing lang po akong Qatar at may lumapit sa akin dun sa Filipino community gathering. Siya'y maiyak-iyak. Siya'y husband, OFW siya galing Saudi. Uuwi silang mag-asawa, transit in Qatar, buntis ang asawa niyang OFW, premature nanganak sa Qatar. At naiyak siya kasi kumbaga naipit sila sa Qatar, hindi siya OFW doon, so walang tulong, walang insurance, etc. So nangako kami sa kanya na through the Action Fund, yung premature babies hospital na nasa incubator, pupondahan po natin ng ganap. Sagot lahat ng DMW yung incubation ng bata. I think they will be there for 1 or 2 more weeks until sa makauwi sa Pilipinas. Pauwi na naman po sila sa Pilipinas. So this is a classic example of how we utilize the Action Fund. Sabi ng Pangulo, gamitin natin ito sa tindi ng kanilang pangangailangan. At ito pong isang ehemplo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For their integration program naman po, ilan po mga OFWs ang pwede natin talagang matulungan with livelihood and training and psychological assistance with these funds?
Sa ngayon po ay, thank you Chair, at sa ngayon po ay ang tulong natin mainly sa reintegration fund ng OWA. Ang OWA, first Admin PY can provide the information na if I remember it right, around 25,000 ang nabibiyayaan ng OWA reintegration program. They spend around 200 to 300 million. I'm already overstepping Admin PYs, pero galing din po kasi ako sa OWA. Kaya I cannot help respond, give some details. But yung tulong po na may bibigay natin around that neighborhood. Pero having said that, marami pa ho tayong matutulungan. Sa ngayon, we're working with, the data is a challenge, I have to admit, but we're working with the Bureau of Immigration now para malaman, kinakombyado, para malaman kung ilan exactly ang nauwi. Kasi hindi po yan na itatanong sa kanilang arrival cards, whether they are coming home permanently or not, but we are addressing this issue. But ang neighborhood sa ngayon with the OWA is around 25,000 as I would recall. But it could go up. Realistically, matutulungan natin 50 to 100,000 ang matutulungan po nating nanunumbalik na OFWs. We're thankful to the Congress, Speaker Martin, noong nakaraang Kongreso, kasi yung pagkakaroon ng budget ng National Reintegration Center sa DMW side for the first time hit 100 million. Unfortunately, medyo mababa pa rin, but sa kasaysayan ng National Reintegration Center, mataas na po rin po ito, dumoble na ang budget ng NRCO. And we're hoping na madoble rin po ito para magkatuwang ang National Reintegration Center at ang OWA sa reintegration. So 147 million po ngayon ang budget ng National Reintegration Center, 51,940 beneficiaries naman po on DARSARD. So with the combined 25,000 ng OWA, that's around 75,000. So realistically, 100,000 and possibly even more ang masisilbihan natin on a yearly basis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Para sa OWA naman po, you are seeking an augmentation of the Emergency Repatriation Fund and Alagang OWA Fund, alongside with essential upgrades in the equipment and connectivity, and additional personnel for their 24/7 help desk. My question is, how much funding is truly required for these programs to function optimally? How will the agency ensure that no...
That was the ongoing House panel deliberations on the 2026 proposed budget
Yes.
of the DMW.
And you had there, you saw si Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak answering questions from the committee.
Defending the budget allocation.
Pero mukhang kasi maganda naman historical usage ng agency on the budget. Wala naman masyadong issue.
Yeah, pero may issue sila recently yung kay former Secretary Arnel Ignacio.
Yes. Because yung supposedly yung halfway house for the OFW na returnees, the lot, no? May issue pala with regards to the height dahil malapit sa airport, di ba?
And it was not parang approved. It was not approved by the DMW itself, if I'm not mistaken. All right,
don't go away. We're not done yet. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. A new report states that governments are dangerously underspending on non-communicable disease, urging nations to boost health investments. Joey Francisco reports.
Heart attack, stroke, cancer, asthma, diabetes. These are some NCDs or non-communicable diseases that continue to claim lives worldwide. In fact, these NCDs that target major organs of the human body account for almost 75% of all deaths worldwide. And NCDs disproportionately affect low and middle income countries. Treatment and management of these diseases remain unaffordable in many territories. The NCD Alliance recently published a report sounding the alarm that countries are dangerously underspending on addressing non-communicable diseases. Currently, most countries invest at best just 0.46% of their gross national income to battle NCDs, even if these diseases claim so many lives each year. The group's recommendation: achieve universal coverage and provide financial protection for NCD interventions by spending up to 1.7% of their national budget.
And I just want to put that in context. Around 1.3 billion people have been pushed into or pushed further into poverty by out-of-pocket health spending. We know that NCD care is driving household poverty and undermining economies. So that's why we think these targets are so important.
Here in the Philippines, a universal healthcare coverage exists, but funding should be allocated strategically and wisely.
It's interesting because as a country, Philippines delivers health insurance to all and principal access to health services to all. But still you have utilization of basic primary care services for NCDs that is quite low. So you still have this massive gap, even in a country that's committed to universal coverage and is committed to financing the health system, big gaps in implementation. And that's, not all the government's fault. Sometimes it just takes time to build awareness in the community. But this is really where the financing solutions lies, in generating population demand for more services and pressuring governments to spend more to deliver those basic services.
In 2 weeks, a high-level meeting on NCD and mental health will start at the UN headquarters in New York. Groups are now pushing countries to commit to closing the financing gaps in programs dealing with specific deadly diseases. Joey Francisco, we are One News.
Pag-asa is currently monitoring a low-pressure area within the Philippine Area of Responsibility. The trough of the LPA is expected to bring scattered rains and thunderstorms to eastern Visayas, Caraga, and Davao Oriental. The Weather Bureau added that the LPA has a low chance of developing into a tropical depression within the next 24 hours. Meanwhile, the easterlies will bring scattered rain showers to Aurora and Quezon. Light to moderate rainfall is also expected in Metro Manila and other parts of the country.
A Filipino student created an app that can help users determine the best time to do laundry. Para sa akin ba yan? Best time to do laundry? Para bigyan ng mukha ang Balita, Mobile Journal, Jazz Paredes.
Nakaka-frustrate na akala mo aaraw kaya naglaba ka. Pero ang ending, umulan. Paano nang sinampay? Yan din ang katanungan ng college student at software developer mula Cavite, si John Daniel Satsatin. Ang kanyang lola, ito rin ang madalas na problema.
So si Lola yung naglalaba sa amin. And then kapag naulan, ako yung inuutosang magsilong ng mga sinampay. So nagiging hassle yun para sa akin. So syempre as a bunso or apo, so ako yung nagawa ng chore na yun na talagang nag-drive sa akin na gawin tong application.
Ito ang Maglalaba ba app. Nakalagay dito kung anong oras o araw magandang maglaba. I-type lamang ang laba.is.live sa inyong browser, pwede yang install, pwede ring hindi. At kilalanin si Ate Love.
So siya yung magsasabi ng mga dialogues nun. So meron tayong iba't ibang parts doon, no? So makikita doon yung chance of rain, 7 hours yung time span niya within the day. So hanggang doon po yung scope niya. Makikita rin doon yung mga recommended time para maglaba.
Ito pa, may estimate kung gaano katagal makakatuyo ng sinampay base sa panahon at temperatura. Ang data, kinukuha niya sa isang open source data service na OpenMeteor. 80 to 90% daw ang accuracy. At in Tagalog pa ang lengguwahe.
Yung pinaka-layout ng app, the purpose, the objective of the app is to help elderlies talaga. Yun yung primary. So, anong nangyari kasi naging sobrang user-friendly siya na pwede siyang magamit ng kahit na sino. Gusto ko sana na magamit siya ng lahat. So, maging applicable siya within all ages po tayo.
7 days sinrabaho ni John ang app nitong July. Ngayon, meron na itong 700,000 visits at 90,000 users. Next target niya para sa app?
Still planning to migrate yung languages natin into multiple dialects like Bisaya, Cebuano, something like that. Naghahanap din ako ng mga translator if meron pang interested dyan. No?
Mobile Journal, Jasper Despo, hatid ang muka ng balita.
The court is set for the much-awaited FIVB Volleyball Men's World Championship hosted by the Philippines for the first time. The details in this report by Mobile Journal, Arles Del Santos.
The last batch of participating countries for the highly anticipated FIVB 2025 Men's World Championship have arrived here in the Philippines. All teams ready to serve, set, dig, and spike for the crown.
In the afternoon of Thursday, back-to-back Olympic volleyball champions France has arrived in the country with fans displaying support through flags, posters, and flowers while also cheering in full exhilaration. Ready to unleash their world-class volleyball skills, French opposite hitter Jean Pacré confirmed that the team is eyeing to replicate their victory in last year's Olympics.
We want to take a lot of pleasure inside the court. It's our objective, and we want to live the same feeling than we live the last season in the Olympic Games. Yes, we are excited. I know they like a lot volleyball. They like Team France, so we are very excited to feel this atmosphere with the supporter.
World's number 3 Brazil also arrived, with avid supporters also preparing flowers, chips, posters, and cheers to welcome the team and showcase top-notch Filipino hospitality.
Something I like about the national team of Brazil volleyball is that super passionate talaga sila when it comes to volleyball and even sa other sports. Like you can see yung firepower sa itsura nila, like when they are playing, super passionate nila and binibigay talaga nila lahat yung 100% nila every game and every point.
Lucas Bergman, Brazil's promising young outside hitter, expressed his excitement to play his first ever World Championship games. He also lauded Filipino audiences' passion for the sports and respect for all the players.
I'm very excited to play my first World Championship, and I hope that the whole team is the same energy. The energy is very great in the stadium, so every fan is cheering both teams. This is very cool. And to be here second time is very, very nice.
Also ready to vie for the crown are Cuba, Belgium, and China, who arrived on the same day. Mobile Journal Arles de los Santos. We are One News.
On Friday.
Thank you, Buddha's Belly, Marjorie Tan, for this.
Oo,
Every
yung
Friday.
favorite mo yan, yung hakaw tsaka fried rice, no? Yung itong isa, kumakain ka niyan.
Chicken feet.
Hindi rin. Ito, dim sum platter for sure.
Pwede, of course.
Ako, by the way, no, speaking of which, it's the end of the week and it's been a week of corruption news.
That was fast.
That
the
was
week,
fast.
diba?
But mapapagod ka talaga. It's because
It started on Monday.
but the corruption's not only happening in Galit, it's happening in
All
other
over
parts
the
of the world.
You have Indonesia, Nepal, and then France as well.
And case in point, dito sa Philippines, we have a rally supposedly tomorrow. Diba? Tomorrow ba yan?
Today,
And
and then there will be September 21.
tomorrow. Black Friday today and then tomorrow is the... Ay, nako.
Go.
And anyway, speaking of corruption, here's a quote for everyone. People's indifference is the best breeding ground for corruption to grow. Dapat iniba ko yung quote ko eh.
Sorry. Ma'am, hindi po pwedeng sabihin ba't tumawa?
Hoy! Anyway, sige na. Mag-close na tayo bago tayo magka... And that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Sorry, sige ito. On Monday, Angelo Castro.
Angelo Castro III, we are one news.
Oh, sorry.